This one's hot.
Crispy.
Ooh, it is crispy. Ooh, it's still smoking. It's still smoking. Put it down. You don't think it's true?
I don't think it is.
I think we're getting...
My time to shine. Hello.
Oh.
Or should I do it as Miss Piggy, like, my time to shine. Hello. Hiya.
That was a really good Miss Piggy. You've been practicing.
I love Miss Piggy.
That was a really good Miss Piggy.
I love Miss Piggy.
Good on you. Agatha all along. Went through a million name changes, and all those scoop crawly prior looked like they were false after they kept changing. So you putting in this title, even if Marvel did come up with this title, that is not good. The Incursions of Insanity. He's with Clea. What are we doing?
Is Mr. Negative the villain in the new Spider-Man movie, Brand New Day?
Rumor.
Hulk teaming up with Spider-Man and Spider-Man Brand New Day? Rumors.
A Scarlet Witch movie in 2028?
Rumor. Wong, Star-Lord, and the Marvel Champions together in Madripoor in Avengers Doomsday? Rumor. We're gonna answer these questions and more in this episode of The Rumor Rundown. That's right, this format is back because we here at New Rockstars will often have rumors come across our desk, and we're often trying to figure out, is this rumor a scoop or is it a poop? That's what we're gonna try to figure out. You guys have asked for this series to come back, and now we're back. And I'm here with me, Erik Voss, and Jessica Clemons.
I'm ready to scoop and I'm ready to poop.
This is what we're going to do, guys. We're going to apply our own personal research and our knowledge from, a past working in this industry across all types of productions on YouTube, on TV sets, on film sets, our friends who do the same. That's something that you get here at New Rockstars that you might not get at other outlets, is professional context of what things actually look like on a TV set and a film set and how the production process actually works in terms of timelines, in terms of contracts. And so we're often able to look at this stuff and be like, doesn't pass the smell test. Doesn't make sense. It's not what we're hearing, because we also have our own sources that we will not disclose.
Yeah, we can't
And we won't. However, if you are a scooper who gets cited on this show, you have an open invitation to come on this show.
Oh my God.
And explain yourself. And I'm serious. Some of you who we name I know you live in the LA area, and you're welcome to come on. And you just have to be okay really answering any question we're going to throw at you. We won't ask you to name or reveal your sources.
Could we make sure they remain anonymous even in the studio?
We're willing to do that. If you are someone who is anonymous, who, My Time to Shine Hello is a good example. I don't know who you are, where you are, whether you're multiple people or whether you're a bot. But if you are someone who watches a show and wants to come on, we will disguise your identity.
That'd be sick.
We'll do the weird, what's it called? The weird Dateline kind of thing.
The Kermit the Frog. Oh gosh.
Kermit the Frog.
We'd have to do something to their voice maybe. I don't know if people have ever heard you talk before. It depends on what you want.
Yeah, if you just want to do like a FaceTime call, we'll have another actor reenact what you said, and maybe it's going to be Kermit or Miss Piggy, just based off of the vibe we get from you.
That'd be kind of sick.
Who do we? I bet My Time to Shine Hello would be like a mix between Animal and Gonzo.
Respectfully, Gonzo and Animal.
It's kind of a chaos monster. Gonzo is just kind of a lonely person who fucks his chicken.
I always imagine My Time to Shine Hello as like Miss Piggy. I refer to My Time to Shine Hello as a girl a lot. I always keep saying like, oh, she does this. And you might not go by any pronouns, but I keep assuming that you're like a sassy woman that just knows everything.
Or I don't think they know everything. They get stuff wrong all the time.
Sometimes I love, this might need to be cut out, but there was one scooper that retaliated on everybody and said, I don't owe you shit. And that's what made me be like, oh, this is a woman that's upset. Like she's tired of you guys harassing her every day. Oh God, it might have been My Time to Shine. I don't remember who it was, but kudos. Go off when you want.
All right. Well, we have our off-screen source, our per our source's producer, who's standing right off the edge of the camera in the shadows, ready to hand us our first rumor. Are you ready, Jess?
I'm ready for a rumor.
Here you go. Ow! Don't bite me, you psycho. God.
It's Animal.
It is Animal. It may or may not be John's dog, Hank. All right, are you ready? Ooh, look at this. Look at this pirate treasure map of a scoop with burnt edges, and it tells us exactly where Cortez's gold is.
Shut up.
But hold on. For podcast listeners, just listen to the
Doesn't it feel crisp?
Texture, the crisp edges of it. All right, here's what the rumor says. pertaining to Spider-Man Brand New Day, a film coming on July 31st, 2026. According to The Hot Mic, a podcast hosted by our friend Jeff Snyder and John Rocha. This podcast reported that Brand New Day villains were being mentioned at the Disney Blockbuster Consumer Products Show. And from that presentation, from various other sources, we heard that Scorpion, Boomerang, and Tombstone are going to be part of it. But in addition to that, My Time to Shine, hello! Or should I do it as Miss Piggy, like, My Time to Shine, hello, hiya!
That was a really good Miss Piggy. You've been practicing.
I love Miss Piggy.
That was a really good Miss Piggy.
I love Miss Piggy.
Good on you.
My Time to Shine, hello, hiya! Says that Steven Yeun has been eyed for a role in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Possible that he's Mr. Negative. Related to this, that redacted guy, it's another one of these anonymous scooper accounts, said to take this with a grain of salt and actually mentioned that Daniel Wu might be the front runner for the role of Mr. Negative. We've been hearing a lot of reports that Mr. Negative is going to be the villain, largely because Brand New Day is a period of comics where Mr. Negative first emerges in Marvel Comics in the late aughts. And there's also some, hopes that maybe Stephen Oyoung, who played the character in the game, might be able, and he's, an accomplished screen actor as well, could be a possible choice. But let's talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day in general. Yeah. What are your thoughts on these rumors?
I love the idea of Mr. Negative. It doesn't deter me. I would love a Tombstone. But if those three are also in there with Mr. Negative, then Mr. Negative can't be the fully bad guy that he is, right? Because then we're just getting another No Way Home. Or not No Way Home. Is it No Way Home? The third one. I always call them by the numbers.
Spider-Man No Way Home is the third one, yeah.
It feels like we're getting another version of that where we're having all his villains come in at one point. And it's not like we haven't seen Tombstone before. So I don't know if I want 4 random villains. I kind of want them to have a story. I want them to have depth. Mr. Negative, I do believe more than I do Tombstone and Boomerang.
Yeah, these other ones, I mean, nothing against, Michael Mando playing Scorpion coming back. They could be part of a sequence in the first act of the movie, which would feel like a bummer for that post-credit scene from Homecoming, if that's the case.
That is also true to keep that in mind, is that Scorpion technically is already there.
He's already there in Rikers with Vulture. Although Vulture transferred to another universe to meet Dr. Michael Morbius at some point.
That's also true. Okay, so there's a lot there.
Who knows where he is?
Mr. Negative, I believe. Steven Yeun playing Mr. Negative, I also could understand. I could see that easily.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about the Steven Yeun of it all. Steven Yeun was in talks to join Jake Schreier's Thunderbolts team as Bob Reynolds' Sentry. That was the word on the street for a while. That ended up not happening, and the screenwriter Erik Pearson said, he was going to be attached, but I don't think they ever signed the paperwork. And for Steven Yeun to pass up that role, it would mean that maybe he didn't want something similar to Invincible.
That's true.
That's true. But Mr. Negative seems like a great option alternative. We should acknowledge Steven Yeun is a Korean American actor. The character of Martin Lee, Mr. Negative, is Chinese. So they would have to change certain elements of his backstory in order to make that work.
100%. Do you think, I always thought of Mr. Negative a little bit older, and that's why I kind of like the first offer you, Stephen Oyoung. Is that what you said? That he looks like a Mr. Negative.
I mean, they built the character off of his appearance.
Yeah, and Mr. Yeun.
Mr. Yeun.
Oh my god!
Come on, just treat his name with some respect.
Sorry, my bad, Mr. Yeun. Sir Yeun. I think that Stephen's a little young. To me, it feels like he's a little young. He feels like he could. If they really tried, he could be around maybe a couple years older than Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah, Steven Yeun seemed a lot older in Minari than he did in The Walking Dead.
100%.
The Walking Dead, he seemed to be roughly Tom Holland's age, and by the end of The Walking Dead, he seemed like a man.
Yeah,
and then he left The Walking Dead in 2016, nearly 10 years ago.
And Beef, he could easily pass for 28, 29.
Yeah,
and that's where I'm like, he does have a face where he could play really old, but he also could just be 6 years older than Peter Parker or Tom Holland himself. He
seems about 10 years older than Tom Holland, even if he isn't. He probably is older than that just because he's been around longer.
Yeah, he's been around longer.
When Steven Yeun, came into our lives in the Walking Dead pilot in 2010, or really episode 2 of The Walking Dead, Tom Holland was a little boy. He was just shooting. He was like on playing Billy Elliot, I think, or just doing other small parts. He was like a child actor at that point. So I think there's like a good 10-year difference. And I agree. I think Mr. Negative, you want him to be like a boss, a villain. And I think Steven Yeun can rise to that challenge, but there may just be other actors who are better for that role.
Also, I'm not trying to say that they're going to go, because it's still technically Sony. I don't think they're going to go the Marvel route. Actually, now thinking about it, Sony does the opposite with their villains. They're like, no, we're going to hold on to them as long as we can. Do you think they're trying to keep Mr. Negative for a longer time than Brand New Day?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, he could be like the Kingpin of Peter Parker's world. Like maybe there's some issue where like they can't have Kingpin in live action just because he's so iconic as Vincent D'Onofrio in the MCU, or at least the Marvel television side of the MCU. So maybe they're like, we need another crime boss character who can be an active presence in Peter's life in New York.
And and that's the thing, is Mr. Negative could be that Kingpin to Tombstone and Scorpion and Boomerang. Oh, and that's why those three would show up, because again, it is a shared universe, and Spider-Man has all the characters, so you might as well show that Mr. Negative runs every empire. Oh, that could work. I could see this.
It kind of makes sense. We just have to remember, even though it's a Sony production and they only have rights to certain characters, it is within the MCU, and Marvel Studios is co-producing. So whatever Sony establishes as being in New York is true for the MCU version of New York. It doesn't mean we'll see Mr. Negative in other titles, but like maybe they're going to establish that now that Wilson Fisk has risen up to the mayor's office, it's created kind of a power vacuum on the criminal side of the underworld.
That's what I thought Born Again was going to be. I thought it was going to be him going to mayor, and then all the factions of gangs fighting for the land that he had left over. And they kind of got that with Vanessa and the rest of them. Yeah. But this could explore that, because New York is so big. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's more than just these parts. I want to see what they're doing every single street. Oh, that could be the case, and it'll be fine, and it works perfectly with what the MCU is doing. And also, technically, Sony, I don't know if this is still the thing since it's working in tandem with Marvel, but we know that Sony has only X amount of characters they can use from Spider-Man, right? And they've been using Tombstone. So I can see this being a legitimate scoop.
Yeah, they seem to have like their hierarchy of villains that they want to try to work in. I mean, Vulture was on that batting order at some point, and they couldn't get Vulture in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4, but they're like, God damn it, we're going to get him in Spider-Man Homecoming. Lizard, same thing happened. He was going to be in Spider-Man 4. They got him into Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. Mysterio even was on that batting order, and they found a way to get him in.
Does this work in tandem with Sony Animations too?
I think that's a very different world.
Okay, I didn't know if that rule still applied, because I was like, they also had an animated Tombstone.
Yes, they did. I think, so we should talk about the latest news that the two Avengers movies were delayed, right? Spider-Man Brand New Day went from a movie being sandwiched in the middle of Doomsday and Secret Wars. Now that Doomsday and Secret Wars were pushed back 6 months each, a Brand New Day is now going to be the first MCU movie we get after Fantastic Four First Steps.
Insane.
Coming 1 year after that. And so now the events of Spider-Man Brand New Day can be completely unaffected by any of the multiverse shenanigans of Doomsday. And I think that's a great thing. It can really be a street level story where really it just deals with Peter Parker's relationship with his community and his relationship with characters like Martin Lee, and I would just love to see that unfold. It also reframes Sadie Sink's role. I mean, Sadie Sink has been speculated to be all kinds of characters, and one of the popular theories is that she was going to be Mayday Parker, Tobey Maguire Peter Parker's daughter from another reality. I just like the idea that she could be one of these characters in Peter Parker's world from the Brand New Day era of the comics. Sadie Sink, I believe, did weigh in. They asked her, hey, what do you think of these rumors? And she basically was like, I love Marvel. And that was her response.
As she should. She said, yeah, they're great.
Yeah, she goes, they've been really cool to read. I love the Marvel Universe. I mean, they're awesome rumors. And I think that's like kind of her Iman Vellani approach. Like, I've been following the rumors I read.
She's getting there. She's getting there. It's taking some time. Stranger Things, they don't have to hide too much. So she's like, oh, I'm learning. I'm learning media training for Marvel movies now.
A lot of people are worried that Sony now is going to delay Spider-Man Brand New Day. I think it's very possible that happens. I just don't think that this Doomsday Secret Wars news makes it any less or more likely.
Yeah.
I think it's a different studio that's producing this movie. Maybe Tom Holland's production schedule did affect the Doomsday delay, but he was already signed on for Spider-Man 4. He was not signed on yet for Doomsday. So his schedule's set. And I think they're moving forward. They have a script that's ready to go. The Russos, Marvel Studios, has a completely different production. And we do know from Joanna, Gavin, and Dave's book that there are the specific timeline of how long Sony has to start production on a new Spider-Man movie in order to retain the rights to the character.
Yeah.
From the release date of the previous movie, which I believe was December 17th, 2021, they have 3 years and 9 months after that to begin production on the next one, and 5 years and 9 months to release it. So beep, boop, 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 do the math in your head. They still have to start shooting Spider-Man Brand New Day by the end of 2025.
Yeah.
They can't completely delay it. So that production start date is, locked in place, and they're not going to want to just keep this movie on the shelves after they've shot it. They're going to want to release it as soon as they can to start making money. So the only thing that would delay it at that point would just be how long the VFX take and post-production and reshoots take.
100.
So I think it's going to stick to this summer 2026 release date.
I agree completely.
So don't worry, guys. We're still going to get Brand New Day, and it's going to be a little weird because it's a Sony production, but it's going to...
Sony needs it. Sony's like, no, we're not going to... We need this. I don't know when the Spider-Verse... Didn't they push the animated one again?
Oh, Beyond the Spider-Verse is coming June 4th, 2027.
So that's why I'm like, Sony's like, we need to put another Spider-Man movie out.
Yeah.
They're like, hurry up, please, hurry, we need this.
Yeah.
After Craven.
Yeah.
Woo, 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 wee. Woo.
Don't you dare say a bad word about Craven.
I didn't say anything about Craven, actually. I just said the name.
And
I purely said the name.
Here's what we're gonna see. We're gonna see some ghosts of old studio visions that show up in Brand New Day, because we always see those in the MCU Spider-Man movies. There's always like weird. Oh, at some point there was a draft of this that tried to connect things to the Venom movies or to Madam Web or to Morbius. And technically, the villain who was talking to Scorpion in that Homecoming post-credit scene is now in some place with Morbius. Right?
Yeah, I need you.
Michael Keaton is hanging out with Morbius.
I feel bad that they have to address it, or they don't have to, but it's like they're going to.
Yeah.
It's like they're like, well, we gotta take it out of the closet. We gotta fix this.
I think it's gonna be Chameleon in the Jackal, because that was set up at the end of Craven.
That is true.
Right? And that guy, I think, is gonna have a very big role, because like the Brand New Day era goes right into an era, if you do connect it to Battle World, where he's very important, because the version of Manhattan that shows up in Battle World is where like okay. I'm not going to get too far into it because I don't want to give this too much.
You're the new leak and scoop.
Yeah.
The leak and scoop.
And I'm popping in from the future to add another big scoop that we learned about recently. Another rumor from our friends from Nexus Point News, who we actually know and like. We trust them. They've often gotten some good scoops. So this might be in the news category rather than rumor, but Nexus Point News are also claiming that Mark Ruffalo is rumored to be returning as Bruce Banner / Hulk in Spider-Man Brand New Day. That is like potentially the Marvel character, the MCU character that Marvel Studios would be lending over to a Sony Marvel co-production in this fourth Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. And I'm wondering if it could be incorporating this moment from the Brand New Day era of the comics, when we learned that Hulk remembered that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, because this is after the Doctor Strange, Reed Richards, Tony Stark memory wipe to make everyone forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Hulk remembers because that memory wipe only affected Bruce Banner. So if that's the case in this live action Spider-Man Brand New Day, we could see like a re-splitting of the Smart Hulk identity into two different characters, as like we've been wanting to see for a while. You could come back to just Bruce Banner and then the angry Rage Hulk identity that has disappeared since Avengers Infinity War. And if that is the case, the Rage Hulk that we saw at the beginning of Infinity War and in Thor Ragnarok, that version of Hulk could remember that this puny human teenage boy is Spider-Man, because they were in that fight together in Central Park with two members of Thanos' Black Order. It was like Bruce Banner, who Peter Parker was helping, but Hulk was in there and might have just remembered that, this Spider-Man guy was this kid named Peter Parker. And that would just be a fun team up. Not a smart Hulk team up, but specifically an angry Hulk team up in Brand New Day. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to even put this up for scoop or poop. I'm just going to call it a scoop. I think it's real. All right, so we got a couple different scoops batched together here, and we'll grade them at the end of this podcast if it's a scoop or a poop.
I think a lot of it is solid.
I think some of it's
good. Who is it? Is it the hot mic? The hot mic's already
Jeff,
doing pretty well.
We got Jeff Snyder. We got My Time to Shine. My Time to Shine. Hello. Hiya. And then those are the
redacted guy. Yeah.
That redacted guy.
That
All right.
redacted guy.
Are you
the
ready
hot
for our
mic.
next rumor?
I'm ready for the next one.
Stop biting me. We got to name this entity over here. Why are you making that face?
Why am I making that face?
All right, is this the next one? I think it's...
They're numbered. Yeah, you got it, number 2.
Oof. Ooh, this one's
hot.
Crispy.
Ooh, it is crispy. Ooh, it's still smoking. It's still smoking. Put it down.
Hot.
Hot off the press or just hot because it's a
I was doing a bit of Randy
scoop?
Marsh there a little bit. Okay. So this is pertaining to the rest of Marvel Studios Phase 6 being announced at Comic-Con this summer. This is from a source named James MacWL, or as I like to say, James MacWell. This guy reports that the November 6, 2026 date that's already on the calendar is for the third Doctor Strange film, which will be called Doctor Strange in the Incursions of Insanity. This guy also said that Marvel's going to announce the rest of Phase 6 at San Diego Comic-Con. James also alleged that they're set to announce Avengers Secret Wars will have 2 parts. We also heard a rumor from someone named Divinity Seeker 1, who says that we're going to hear an announcement of Scarlet Witch Kingdom of the Damned that's allegedly releasing in 2028. Well, right off the bat, we know that November 6, 2026, that was on Marvel's release date slate, and it has been removed as of the recent announcement.
To be fair, maybe he got the scoop before they were planning to remove it, right?
Oh, that's right. Maybe he just had old information.
Yeah, maybe it's old information. I'm being a nice person.
We're being nice. It's possible that Avengers Secret Wars could come out in 2 parts. The new release date for Avengers Secret Wars is December 2027. 2027. So we could see a part 2 coming in May 2027. We don't know if Marvel's going to release a movie.
The same year.
There's a chance. We talked about this on the sneak peek last Sunday that like there's an unclaimed May 2027 release date that could be Secret Wars Part 2, could be one of these Doctor Strange movies. It could be Scarlet Witch.
Would it be weird to have the Part 2 come out the same year as the Scarlet Witch movie?
If that's true, and I don't think
you don't think it's true.
I don't think it is.
I think we're getting. You don't think we're getting that specific Scarlet Witch, or you think we're not getting a Scarlet Witch movie?
Both. I think there may be a board somewhere in Marvel Studios where a Scarlet Witch movie is on that board. I don't think it would already have a title yet to be called Kingdom of the Damned.
No.
Agatha Harkness had like 8 different titles until they're just like, it's just called Agatha all along. And I think it's just Elizabeth Olsen would have to be the first person on that call sheet. And anytime she's interviewed, like she loves teasing us, like, I don't know. And she's very fun in interviews. But when she's pointedly asked about it, she goes, the character's dead. We all need to move on. You know, that doesn't mean she can't come back for like Doomsday or Secret Wars or something like that. But I don't think they're going to give her own solo movie. And I think that would be a damn shame because that movie would be great. I would love that movie. I just don't think it's part of their plan right now.
That's such an... maybe it's me being star-crossed by being like, I do want to see Wanda back, and I do believe there could be a Wanda movie in the future. But I am not taking into account the Elizabeth Olsen of it all, where Elizabeth Olsen has said these things. And she does seem like it's been so long she's been here that she's like, I kind of want to go back to doing the stuff I wanted to do. But, and that's the thing. She could just say no. She could just say no. And
they'd have to leave.
I want to believe there is something out there. And it sucks, too, because I bet this scoop is only coming because Multiverse of Madness didn't do what it was supposed to do with Wanda. And so everyone expects there to be a follow-up to correct what Multiverse of Madness did. But they were like, that wasn't the plan. Her ending was supposed to be there. Like, I'm sorry. Oh God, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either. But I think the fact that like they were attaching this same report basically was saying November 6, 2026 is going to be Doctor Strange in the Incursions of Insanity. There's no way that movie's called In the Incursions of Insanity. No way Marvel's going to title a movie that. And the fact that release date was recently, since then, erased from the calendar just makes me doubt everything this person's saying.
Damn. The thing that makes me upset is like, even if that scoop is completely accurate and they just changed the name, I'm like, you shouldn't have put the name in the scoop, like the title of it. Because even in Agatha All Along, went through 1 million name changes, and all those scoops probably prior looked like they were false after they kept changing. So you putting in this title, even if Marvel did come up with this title, that is not good. The Incursions of Insanity. He's with Clea. What are we doing?
What are we doing? And for now that, like, we talked on the sneak peek that, again, an unclaimed May 2027 release date that could be a third Doctor Strange movie to bridge the multiverse logic between Doomsday and Secret Wars. I don't think they would call it Incursions of Insanity.
They don't want to go back to also talking about incursions. I think they're they're going to, but I think they're also like, we did it in Multiverse of Madness so much. I don't want to do another Doctor Strange movie where we're only talking about it again.
Yeah, agreed. I think like it would be a movie about him being a multiversal surgeon who's trying to stitch the universe and trying to perform, multiversal chest compressions to keep this patient alive of the multiverse.
To be devil's advocate, we know we're getting a Doctor Strange 3 though.
We probably will.
And it's definitely not that November date.
It's definitely not that November date. It's not before Doomsday.
But it could be in Phase 6?
It could be part of Phase 6, yeah.
I could see Benedict Cumberbatch coming out in San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Hasn't he already a couple times?
He's been there before. If it is part of Phase 6, I think that just means everything up through December 2027. Because I still think Phase 6 is going to end with Secret Wars.
I thought
so maybe that just means one other title that could be this May 2027 release date. And again, watch our sneak peek episode. We have we speculated could be a new Avengers movie, could be Black Panther 3, could be a Deadpool and Wolverine and Blade movie. A lot of good options there.
Damn, this scoop is completely like totaled.
Yeah.
After that November 6th stuff, I'm sorry, dude. But yeah, that's gonna be so crazy. At what point do we stop okay? Because I agreed. I thought Secret Wars is gonna end our phase, and then we'd go directly into the mutant saga.
I think so.
Like Doctor Strange, like Kevin Feige said. So, would we be turning Doctor Strange into a mutant movie?
No, I don't think so.
If he's in Phase 6, if Phase 6 we're in Phase 5 right now. Secret Wars ends Phase 5. Where I need the timeline on my head.
Technically, Fantastic Four First Steps
ends Phase 5.
Was going to be the first part of Phase 6. And Thunderbolts was going to be the end of Phase 5. But I don't know. They're not even sticking to this anymore.
Yeah,
I think they're just calling it Multiverse Saga.
Which is fine, because that's what they've done with all the other sagas. But I just need to know what phases you guys are going through now.
I think you're gonna start hearing them say less and less about phases and more about sagas.
Is it gonna be distracting to have a Doctor Strange movie out when we're focusing so much on X-Men and mutants?
Depends. It depends on what the crisis is. You can have a Doctor Strange movie that doesn't have to do with mutants at all, and it could maybe at one point he just like works with a mutant. He could work with the Franklin Richards or something like that. Some kind of reality warper in a way. Yeah. So let's move on to another rumor.
Rumor.
All right, now they just kissed my hand.
Because you berated them the last 2 times.
Yeah, but you don't have to
now they're
put your
over.
mouth
They're
on me at all.
All
right, this rumor. Ooh.
Oh, a big rumor. A chunky boy.
Rumor.
A chunk boy.
Big rumor. Okay. So this rumor is actually kind of what you might call a leak. There was someone who there was a Doomsday set picture that we're not going to show you, but it was shared by an account called Unbox PhD.
That's a good name.
That's a pretty good name.
That's a good name.
A lot of these are drone cameras. It includes a lot of things that we've seen from other set photos. We're just going to be limited what we tell you, but it is out there if you want to go look at this yourself. More than one corpse of a Sentinel on or around the X-Mansion grounds. Maybe a bar that seems to be in Madripoor. We also know of some leaked concept art that we think is legit, but the Russo brothers have said we're allowed to share and talk about this stuff because according to them, it's not their art. So they gave us permission to show it. We're still uneasy showing it to you, but basically this concept art, which is concept art for a movie, it's not official storyboard art. The concept art shows Wong, Peter Quill, Star-Lord, and the Marvel Champions, we could call them, or just some young Avengers, but I assume they're going to call them the Champions. They should. In what could be this Madripoor bar. In this photo, we see Kate the Bishop. I believe we see Stature. We see Wiccan and his brother Tommy. And we see Iman Vellani, who just looks really eager to hear everything Wong says. So
this is an interesting group. That's a weird group.
Weird group.
Weird group to be hanging out at a bar.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, hey, that's what all Infinity War and Endgame was, right? I was loving how they mixed people up together. I was like, oh yeah, put Rocket with Thor.
There was also we're not going to show you this footage, but there's this person who allegedly snuck onto the set of Avengers Doomsday, going by the name Never See Me Coming or something like that.
Let me tell you, and he's going through it right now.
He says that Marvel sent him an official threat to, which they would never call it a threat. Lawyers don't say they're threatening you. They just use other big scary words.
Yeah, they're like, please don't come onto the set and record things.
He posted a video first on his TikTok and then on his Instagram of just him, I guess, sneaking around craft services past the Stars trailers, and he also saw what looked like a Madripoor set. They're shooting in Pinewood Studios. It looks like he snuck through a back fence over a tree and then walked around and uses this like AI voice over his Instagram video, and it's super edited and it's very goofy. He covered his face, but you can see his eyes, and it's kind of crazy, but that is also happening. Now, this is the rumor rundown. We can create a new show called Leak Report?
Leakish.
Or we used to have Wookiee Leaks, so we could say,
yeah,
love you, leak.
To be fair, this is like to be fair, there's no to be fair. This is just like the leak is there, and so it causes a lot of rumors.
A lot of people will use this.
Yeah, and so now and that's why the concept, there was a lot of concept art, a ton of concept art. And we don't know if the Marvel Champions we don't even know if Wong, right, is going to be in it because of the chair.
Yeah, he wasn't announced.
The chairs.
Yeah.
I always go through the things that Marvel has shared with us so far, and we know on the chairs, those are the list of people that are definitely going to be in it. The Madripoor set is so interesting because why am I needing to go to Madripoor? Why do we need to go to Madripoor? Who's there? The Power Broker and Shang-Chi's sister?
We don't even know if she's in Madripoor.
Yeah, we actually don't know if she's in Madripoor.
Yeah, like Madripoor was just a location in one episode of The Falcon
and
the
Winter Soldier. It's just a club for criminals, which I love. But I was like, I don't think we ever need to go back to Madripoor.
No.
I assumed that set was, for some reason, I was like, oh, the world has already been depleted, and this is a piece or a faction of Battle World. Like, I don't know why, because I was just like, why do we need to go back to Madripoor? I don't know. I don't understand.
It's a potentially cool location, but they just like barely developed it in the MCU.
Unless,
so
do you think, like, no, because why would Shang-Chi just be sitting there? Why would anyone just be sitting there? I guess maybe that's where they have to go find someone. Someone has just, if Wong is just there, Wong is just hanging out at Madripoor.
I don't know. I think like the rumors of this being actually a major part of Doomsday is where I'm like calling some bullshit because we don't really know. It could just be like a background thing.
Right?
Remember in Deadpool and Wolverine, we saw like, what's his name? Rob Liefeld's Foot Solutions. Did that have anything to do with the plot of Deadpool and Wolverine?
But maybe X-Mansion does have a lot to do with the plot.
X-Mansion, I feel like that part of it is accurate. And I think we knew that from the Marvel's post-credit scene. The fact that Beast was in the X-Mansion and that this was setting up some part of Doomsday.
You think we're in that universe?
I think we're in that. I think that is the X-Men universe.
Oh,
I think that's 10005.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. So Doomsday, literally Doom is just going to every universe, fucking it up.
And then he's ripping out chunks and then
that
building
makes sense.
Battle World with it. So I think
this is just a show of cameos. This is just a movie of cameos.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Keep going.
Because and part of I'm getting that because we know Kelsey Grammer's name was on one of the set chairs, and he said in his interview with Rob Lowe that he was told the general idea of the script. And I feel like to even be told that means that he knows where his character is and what his character will do in the story. And so they're gonna connect the dots with the Marvels.
That's crazy. We're just gonna go through a train of cameos in different locations. We're gonna go to one 30 minutes that's with Nightcrawler and all of them in the X-Men. That's crazy. Okay, go off. $1 billion. All right.
So we've covered quite a few rumors here about Spider-Man Brand New Day, about the Phase 6 and some of these crazy titles of Scarlet Witch and the Kingdom of the Damned, Doctor Strange and the Incursions of Insanity. Let's go through them and rate them scoop or poop.
Okay.
First rumor, do we think Mr. Negative... first off, do you think Mr. Negative will be in Brand New Day, and will he be played by Stephen Yeun, as My Time to Shine Hello says? Scoop or poop?
That's hard. I think it's a half scoop. Half poop. No, actually, I'll say scoop. I think it's scoop. I know that Mr. Negative is definitely going to have to be in Brand New Day.
Yeah.
I have full faith Mr. Negative. This is a character also we've been talking about since like ever, especially for people that play the video games. We're like, this is a great character. Why hasn't he shown up yet?
Yeah.
So I think with Destin Daniel Cretton doing this, I know he's going to show up. I am actually on the fence of maybe it's not going to be Stephen Yeun. That's the only part. But I'm going to say scoop for now because if I don't see Mr. Negative, I'll just be pissed.
Yeah, I feel the same way you do. I think the Mr. Negative part of it is a scoop. I think the Steven Yeun part of it is a poop. I think they just threw a name out there that would get engagement, and it's going to be a different actor as Mr. Negative.
I'm sure they'll also reach out to Steven Yeun, but they have that list of people that are the backup when he says no.
Yeah. I also just think Steven Yeun's walking away from Thunderbolts was not to go into another superhero title. I think his superhero IP is Invincible, and he's happy with that, and he wants to do other work in live action.
It's in when I rewatched the Thunderbolts, I noticed, I think it was Sentry that said it, but someone was like, he's invincible, and I was like, if this was Steven Yeun playing this character, would he have loved this line, or would he have been tired of this line?
Yeah. Okay, so this other thing, do you think that we're going to see Tombstone, Boomerang, and Scorpion in Spider-Man Brand New Day?
Yes.
You think that's a scoop?
I think it's a scoop. And if it's not, shoot me down. No, I'm joking. Don't do that. But, yeah, if Mr. Negative's there, he's running crime, yeah, bring in those three. Those are the low-stakes ones.
All right, I agree with you. I think that is a scoop. I think we will see them in small roles.
Who said that one?
That was just people going to this.
Oh, okay, it's people. Yeah, the conference. Get us in the Disney consumer production. I don't know if I want to be in that. After I said it fully out loud, Disney consumer.
Should we say what the consumer product presentation is?
Yeah, what is it?
It's a presentation from the studios to different people who make consumer products like toys, merch. Lego has representatives there. Hasbro, other toys.
Oh, okay.
Toy manufacturers do, as well as McDonald's and other people who could license these characters for different products. They present different things that are going to be part of the movie to just get them brainstorming on ideas for pitches.
Damn, we should have said that at the top, because I was like, that makes sense also why you choose those three. They look like they could be toys.
Yeah. Yep. Next scoop. Do you think Marvel will announce their full Phase 6 plans in July? I think that's a scoop. I think by the end of July, we're going to see everything that they want us to know through the end of 2027. And I think if there is a secret movie in May 2027, we'll know. Yeah. They're going to tell us at Comic-Con. I do think that's a scoop. Are we going to see Doctor Strange and the Incursions of Insanity in November 2026? I'm sorry, my man. It's
officially a poop, my boy.
That is a poop. Do you think we're going to see a Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff movie in 2028? I think that's a poop.
Can I be a hopeful scoop?
You can be a hopeful scoop.
I'm going to be a hopeful scoop. I know that I'm with the fans on this. We have no evidence, but we are just hoping. But I think we could get a Wanda Maximoff movie in 2028. Yeah, even a special presentation, something.
I'm going to give just an automatic scoop to anything about Sentinels and X-Men and the X-Mansion. Just because we have photos of it and we know from the Kelsey Grammer stuff that that's going to be part of it. However, I think it is kind of a rumor that based off of this Madripoor bar, that's going to be the scene with Wong and the Champions. So do you think that is a scoop or a poop?
I think it's a poop.
I think that's a poop too. I think that concept art is really not one of the ones that's going to be in the movie.
I also think they gave every artist 400 things and they got the 400 art back, and it's not like they're going to do all of them.
Yeah, and part of it is if you look at this concept art, maybe Chris Pratt shows up in this movie. Are they going to bring in that many young TV characters into this movie? No. I don't think. I mean, Iman Vellani maybe, Haley Steinfeld maybe, but Haley Steinfeld has said no. Yes, someone said, "Are you going to be in Doomsday?" And she nodded, but she's nodding to someone else. And as much as I like a lot of these other characters, Wiccan is probably not going to be in Doomsday. If he is, awesome. I think he should be in the upcoming X-Men movie and part of an X-Mansion movie or a Charles Xavier Academy movie. He needs to be part of the mutant saga going forward, but are they going to move heaven and earth to make sure all these young characters are in this movie? I think it was just concept art.
And I think there's enough rumors about the Marvel Champions series that I think they're more focused on them doing that right now than showing up in Doomsday immediately.
Yeah.
And just hanging out with Wong in a bar. Because also, what the hell Wong's doing with 5 kids, just and being I can't control any of them.
I think part of it is Wong could be the leader of the Champions. The way we were hoping that Matt Murdock could be that mentor role to them, or maybe Vision could be the mentor to the Champions. Wong's pretty funny. I think he'd be great in that role.
Wong's great. Isn't there a rumor that Wong's gonna die?
Not in my book.
Not in my book, but someone brought it up. And I'm 100% sure it was Erik Voss.
I've never said that in my life. I never want to see him die. He needs to just be the the Sorcerer Supreme in the MCU for the time to come. He is just so fun. He's like exactly what we need over there.
Good scoops. Good scoops.
So we've had some scoops. We've had some poops. We've had some crazy alley-oops.
My time to shine. Hello, I'm still going to be looking out for you. The hot mic, still looking out for you.
Again,
Still looking for you.
If we named you, you're welcome to come on the show. You're welcome to come on the show and just talk about your process. You don't have to name your sources, but I just kind of want to know how you met this source, maybe.
If the source,
how you know them.
If the source birthed you.
Are you related to this source?
I'm gonna.
Did you meet them in your past work? How do you stay connected with them? Is it through a text message? Is it through an email? Do you see them? Do you play pickleball with them?
Do you work there?
Have you worked there? Are you roommates with them? Are they a friend of a roommate or a friend of a friend? We kind of just want to know some context because per my sources is not enough to verify something.
And sometimes you guys are coming out the gate with like hard ones that are like big that I'm like, that's too specific. Someone has to be telling you that is in there or you're in there.
And sometimes you'll just mix it in with I'm thinking versus I'm hearing. And if it's just your theory, you got to make it clear whether it's what you want to happen versus what you have sourced from someone is happening.
Get that grammar right.
Well, that is it for this episode of the Rumor Rundown. Be sure to subscribe to this show wherever you get your podcasts so that you never miss an episode. And if you want to see us have this conversation and see these beautiful burnt edges of these scoops, you got to follow the new Rockstars channel on YouTube. Special thanks to one of our YouTube members, Cameron, who supports us at the executive producer level. Jessica, thank you. It's been a delight.
Yeah, dude, it's been good. These are so many scoops. So many scoops. It's almost like you guys are coming out with these like a million a day.
Hey, and if you see some scoops out there that you think are crazy and want us to properly assess them, tag us on social media using the hashtag. Do people still use hashtags?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Well, just tag us and say this would be great for Rumor Down, or hit us up in the comments of this video. Or you can, just reach out to us that way. Or you can go on our subreddit. I'll see it there. But I don't want to give out my email address because I don't want people going crazy.
Yeah. They're banging at the door to get in.
Oh, that's my time to shine. Hello, going, hiya, on our elephant door. So that means it's time to go. Bye, everybody.